America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. We have a great show for you tonight, everyone. This is our 100th episode. We have a huge celebration today, a huge episode today. We have an insane amount of topics to go over. A ton has been going on. I also want to talk about all my political policies and my political stances as well for our 100th episode. I have been putting together a little highlight reel of the first 100 episodes as well that I will be releasing in the next week or so. We do have a ton of different topics to talk about. Please remember to smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions. I do want to tell you what our topics are today. We're going to talk about the shooting that happened in New York City yesterday. We'll talk about who it was, what gun he used, who he was targeting, why the shooting happening, what the media reported. We'll talk about all aspects of the shooting, how the media is blowing a lot of things out of proportion. We'll talk about how the media is using this to try and ban what they call assault weapons, but they want to ban AR-15s in America, which we will never let happen. We will also talk about the U.S. finally admitting, Donald Trump yesterday, to the media, finally admitting that Israel is starving Palestinians. I'm not on Israel's side of the war. I'm not on Hamas's side of the war, but I have to speak out when we have nations, especially ones that we are funding, that are starving children. We're going to talk about the war in Gaza. We'll talk about Israel and Palestine. We'll talk about the UK's response to all this as well after France and Macron decided that they would acknowledge Palestine as a state. We'll talk about Donald Trump, like I said, contradicting Netanyahu, what Netanyahu said, and then we will also talk about Charlie Kirk with this. Charlie Kirk released a 10-minute video yesterday after Donald Trump said that Israel has been starving Palestinians to refute that claim, to say that no, that is not happening. We'll talk about Charlie Kirk's video after he just did his video with the anti-Israel members of the TPUSA organization. We will show a video of an EasyJet flight where a man tried to hijack the flight and we had passengers stop this. We will talk about Sydney Sweeney's new American Eagle ad. Usually this is something I wouldn't even talk about at all, but the media is now saying that Sydney Sweeney is a Nazi. I don't think they know what fucking Nazi means. We're going to talk a little bit about Epstein today. The media seems to have forgotten about it, but we haven't forgotten here. It's still very important on this show that we hold politicians, billionaires, and all the corrupt pedophiles accountable for their actions. Like I said, we will go over my political and all my takes for everything in the country when it comes to economics, healthcare, immigration, crime, foreign policy, civil rights, education, religion, elections, all that stuff we'll go over today. We'll also talk about some other smaller stories. We'll talk about a possible paycheck that me and you might be getting from the federal government for the tariffs. We talked about this very briefly last week. And we will talk about a story that Charlie Kirk is reporting on today of a sex offender who is allowed to adopt a little boy. Like I said, we have a lot of different topics to talk about, a ton of different stuff, a great show for you tonight, everybody, a 100th episode spectacular, so please remember to smash the follow button, leave a comment if you have any questions. We are going to get right into our show here, though. I do want to talk about the New York City shooting first. This was a very tragic event yesterday. It happened very briefly after I finished shooting my episode, so I was not able to report on it yesterday. But Shane Devin Archer was the shooter in New York City. He was targeting the NFL headquarters. He left a note. The note essentially was saying that the NFL has caused massive brain problems through their players for profit, that they are allowing all these players to get CTE. It is ruining the rest of their lives, and the NFL is profiting off these people. This is not new information. We've known about the problems of concussions in football well studied and documented. There's movies and documentaries and books about this. Doctors talk about it. They educate people about it in school. They even give players the option to wear something called a guardian cap, which a lot of players choose to not wear because optically it does look a little dumb. But if it, preserves your brain health for the majority of your life, I think it is very worth it. The smarter players are the ones who are using that. This person was not an NFL player. This person had a lot of mental health problems. Maybe they thought they were an NFL player, but this person was apparently an exceptional high school football talent. They were not in high school anymore. They were well out of high school, but this person was a Las Vegas resident who drove to New York to target the NFL headquarters in New York. They used an AR-15 to carry out this attack. This is why the media is going to try and spin this to say that AR-15s need to be made illegal. We need more safe, common sense gun laws is what they're going to say. But I'm going to explain to you why that is untrue. He drove from Vegas to New York City. Where he shot was a gun-free zone. If New York was to make more gun laws to restrict AR-15s, to restrict access to legal citizens' rights to own a firearm, this would have made this worse. Police officers were the one who this individual did not get apprehended. They killed themselves. But police officers were the ones who went after this individual. In a state like Florida, you would have had armed citizens target this individual. You will not be able to have armed citizens target this individual when you disarm your citizens. You're not going to be able to disarm the citizens of Vegas with laws in New York. The federal government is not going to take our rights to AR-15s and things like that away because we will revolt. We will stand up against that. I would love to see them try and knock on my door and take mine. It will not end pretty, and it won't end pretty for any ATF agent or any federal agent who tries to take Americans' guns away for no reason. The Second Amendment is there so we can stand up against a corrupt government. Our government has satellites, it has drones, it has tanks, it has everything that we do not have. So to say that you should limit Americans more against that government is tyrannical. It is against everything that the United States and the Constitution stands for. It's one of the reasons I don't want to bring more immigrants into this country, because the majority of them want to get rid of gun ownership. They want to get rid of the Constitution. I don't support that. This piece of shit, Shane Devin Archer, shot a police officer. So I'm very glad that this person killed themselves, saved the taxpayer dollars on having to put this person through a trial and through jail. This person was a mentally deranged asshole who deserves to die, and I'm very glad they are dead. They took the coward's way out because they were nothing more than a coward. This person was a pussy, a coward, a worthless individual, a waste of life, a waste of oxygen, and I'm very glad this person is dead. We do not need people who are targeting police officers with violence, specifically gun violence, on our streets. Those people need to be murdered, and I'm glad this person decided to just do that himself and save us all the tax-paying dollars. Like I said, a gun-free zone, more gun restrictions would not have helped this. It would have just hurt the scenario more. Unless you're going to take the AR-15s and take the guns away from all Americans all over, which would be impossible, you will not be able to accomplish making it safer in New York City from out-of-state residents who decide to just drive from Vegas with their AR-15. If you put laws in New York City, and theoretically then you put laws in Vegas, someone from Florida could drive up with their AR-15 and shoot up New York. Someone from Georgia, someone from South Carolina. These things can just happen. What we need to do is be addressing the actual issue. The actual issue is not a gun issue. It's a mental health issue. People used to go to school with their guns in their trucks very commonly in the 1900s, 70s, 80s. People used to have their guns in their trucks up until about Columbine. This was a very normal thing. Kids would go hunting after school. People just had it for their protection in their trucks, but there was not none, but very little school shootings, if any at all. It is because mental health issues were addressed differently. We weren't jacking kids on SSRIs. We weren't diagnosing them with everything at very young ages. We weren't labeling these kids as things. We weren't putting an insane amount of social pressure on these kids to be woke and to not be who they are. We tell kids they can't be comical. They can't be, they can't tell jokes. They can't be themselves unless they want to get canceled for a lot of these kids. But that doesn't apply to the liberals, only the conservatives. Because the conservatives are the Nazis, right, in this country? It's just absolutely ridiculous. We need to do what we can to address the mental health issues. We have a severe rise in mental health issues, especially among the Liberal Party. 56% of liberals under the age of 30 have mental health issues diagnosed. That's a severe issue. We have too many kids medicated, too many kids diagnosed with letter disorders. I mean, every kid now is the full alphabet soup. It's bullshit. It's non-existent. It's not real. And I'm not saying some of these things aren't real. ADHD is real. OCD can be real. All these things can be real, but not all these kids have all of them. You know, it's very specific cases where they do, but they are on the rise, and they are over-medicating, and they are messing these kids up. The rise in the divorce rate also doesn't help with the mental health crisis. The state of the economy doesn't help either. But when you look at how the big pharma companies are addressing this problem, they are over-medicating. They are putting profits before morality. They are not taking care of Americans. They are hurting Americans. And the big pharma companies are generally the ones who are responsible for things like this, not the gun manufacturers, not the gun sellers. The gun owner, the one who shot, was responsible, but he had mental health problems. He had mental health problems. That doesn't give him an excuse to do this, but it is the reason it happened. It's not because he owned an AR-15. If he owned a 5.7, if he owned a Glock, if he owned a SIG, he could do this just as easily. An AR-15 is just a long rifle, or it could be a short-barreled rifle, but it does not mean that is why he did it. AR-15s are a very useful tool to have for home defense. They are very useful if you were to get into combat and have to save your life. AR-15s are necessary for Americans, and I want to take it a step further. They made AR-15s not able to be automatic anymore. They should change that back. We should be able to have automatic weapons. We should even be able to have access to certain artillery, like certain grenades, flashbangs, even drones for self-defense. I think it's unfair that our government could literally kill me with a satellite from space right now, but I have no way to defend myself against that with a tyrannical government if it was to ever take over. And you have to think, we haven't had a tyrannical government take over yet. So when a tyrannical government was to take over, we would be in the future. We're already very technologically advanced. We will only be further technologically advanced by then. We need to be able to maintain. We need to be able to stay with the times. We need to be able to defend ourselves against tyranny, against all leadership, against people who want to knock on your door and take your guns because some dumbass, some really fucked up individual from Vegas decided he wanted to go pay the NFL some pain, like give the NFL some pain. He wanted to target their office. He, I think, killed 4 people. This person was a piece of shit. This person was suffering mental health problems. It was not gun problems. It is just so hard to explain to liberals this. Liberals want to take this and they want to say that, no, this person was a deranged gun lunatic, no matter what gun they had, that this wouldn't have happened, that it only was able to happen because they had an AR-15. Like, that is just so untrue. It is so untrue. Some people can be more accurate with handguns than they are with rifles. Generally not, but some people are. We even saw, like, in the Olympics, the one guy, everyone has those optics. The one guy literally got up there like this, and he came in second place. He's just a natural shooter. Natural shooters exist. You don't need an AR-15 to cause a mass shooting. The standard rounds of 30 in an AR-15 help with a mass shooting, obviously. But, again, they sell extendo mags for Glock, so the argument that an AR-15 is the reason this happened is such a poor, stupid, uninformed, uneducated argument. It shows that you know nothing about the Second Amendment, nothing about the Constitution, nothing about what AR-15s actually are, nothing about how guns actually work, nothing about how gun laws actually work. And if you think that better gun laws would have stopped this, then you are just as dumb as the media, because better gun laws would have only made this worse. And when I say better gun laws, I mean better gun laws for the liberals. Liberals just want to take our guns. They think that will stop the problem. If you take the guns from all the citizens who follow the law, the only people who have guns are the citizens who don't follow the law. It's common fucking sense, people. Let's snap back into reality. It's very sad what happened in New York. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone harmed and the souls of the lives that were lost in this, except for the soul of that person. I hope he can burn in hell. He is a terrible, terrible person, but we need to do what we can to address more mental health issues in this country so the next crisis doesn't happen. We will have more problems like this in the future if we don't address the mental health problems. Almost every mass shooting you see at a school, at a nightclub, the Vegas one I'm not going to say because I still think that one's a conspiracy. We could actually talk about that in a second. But it's all mental health issues. It's never, the gun pulled the trigger on its own. It's a man generally with a really fucked up head, overly medicated, bad relationship with their parents, And it leads to this. And it's not to say that if you have a bad relationship with your parents, you're going to shoot up a school or a club or your workplace. But it is to say that there are certain factors that do contribute. And when you take the average school shooter, the average shooter in general, they do seem to have these things. They have mental problems. They are overly medicated. They had bad experiences with doctors, maybe. They had bad relationships with their parents. Whatever it is, we need to start actually addressing the problems at the source to fix these issues. I'm very tired of the media trying to spin this into a gun issue when it's actually just a mental health issue. And I want to go and I want to show you guys some videos of some stuff from New York City. I'm not going to show videos of the shootings or anything, but I am going to show videos of people in the media talking, because one thing the media reported, and again, people get shit wrong in the media all the time, but I'm going to show you the same picture that they were looking at and we were looking at when they reported this. They said that this was a possibly white shooter. Not that we're going to make this about race, because this shooting was not about race at all. But the fact that the media said possibly white shooter, and I'm going to play the clip for you. This guy, I don't know. You guys can see for yourselves. This guy was just, he was so far from white. It's unreal. Let me pull this video up right here.
Among them that they did get, they do know what he looks like. Sunglasses, mustache, male, possibly white. And among them that they did get, they do know what
so
he
they say
looks
possibly
like.
white. That's just, okay, again, it's just absolutely ridiculous. This is the picture they saw when they said possibly white. It's does that guy look possibly white? Does that guy maybe possibly Hispanic, definitely black? I don't see possibly white there. This is the guy. Yeah, possibly white, possibly fucking Asian. But how is he white? What are you fucking talking about? How is this guy possibly white? Am I seeing this as clearly as you? Can I fucking see this? This guy he's not white. It's absolutely absurd. This is an old footage of, that one doesn't seem to be loading. We'll skip that. We're going to go to this, actually. This was a video of Sneeko. If you don't know who Sneeko is, he is a streamer. Sneeko talks to a guy who was talking to the media. And this was actually pretty interesting. Sneeko said that this guy might be connected to Mossad. I'm not exactly sure, but...
You said a suspect had a Free Palestine shirt on? I saw one of the guys getting arrested. He had a Free Palestine shirt on. Was it this dude in this picture? This dude isn't. No, it wasn't that guy. It was another guy. So there's two guys now? I think it was two guys, yeah. That's what I heard. It was definitely politically motivated. You don't think it's a false flag? It could be, someone staging an event to try to place blame? No. I don't know.
It's an interesting idea.
False flags, all that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I think it's just...
I am.
A bunch of guys just want to send a message or whatever. Update at this time, the scene has been contained and the lone shooter has been neutralized. So it's one guy, not two. He was just saying there was two guys with a Free Palestine shirt, and that was one guy based off the NYPD.
Yeah, that is weird. Again, it could just be a really stupid guy. It could just be a guy who thought he saw something on social media from someone else and thought he was gonna, get ahead of things reporting it and sound smart. It could be a lot of different things, but it is interesting that a guy is saying that he was wearing a Free Palestine shirt. That's odd. That's really odd. I wouldn't go as far as this post to say that he might be connected to Mossad, but depending on what we see in the media today and tomorrow, maybe. If we saw in the media today and tomorrow that they said that this was connected to anything Israel-Palestine related, then you can maybe make the argument that that is what's happening and they are trying to push that narrative. But as of now, what I'm reporting is what's in the media. It's the fact that he was a pissed off high school football player who thought he was an NFL player because he was mentally ill. He mentioned Ryan Leaf in his suicide note and how Ryan Leaf downed a thing of antifreeze to kill himself because the NFL screwed with his brain for profit. And then that was essentially what it looked like. He was trying to target the NFL office in New York. It doesn't seem to be Mossad. There was another video from Sneeko here.
The Palestine shirt?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh. No, we were saying that's his friend. Oh, okay, fine. I was gonna say, I don't know who this guy is, but there was a guy arrested.
Can you show them?
Yeah.
So was he the shooter?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's the picture.
This is a follow-up.
Different guy.
Yeah, I thought it was this guy.
Right, so I don't know if that... right now we don't know. Like, it seems like it was that guy was the shooter, maybe he's an accomplice, there's also another woman.
Yeah, so I'm just guessing that some big, like, there's so many bot Twitter accounts. It's just, Twitter is full of bot accounts. I'm sure that it was some bot Twitter account posted a picture of a dude in Free Palestine shirt and handcuffs in New York City. Probably a real picture from some point in time. And they are flooding the media with it to say that he was involved in, like, the bot accounts are doing that. That happens. The bots take over social media all the time. Yeah, I think this whole Sneeko thing is actually pretty stupid. It's not bad to talk about. It's an interesting perspective. It's just not realistic that this is tied to the Israel-Palestine war at all. I do want to talk about the Israel-Palestine war, and I'm going to show Charlie Kirk's video a little bit as well. Charlie Kirk posted a video talking about it. But I want to talk about Donald Trump admitting to the press that, or essentially just contradicting Netanyahu to the press. Netanyahu has said multiple times to the American media, to the Israeli media, that Israel is not starving the people in Gaza, that they are not intentionally doing that. They're not killing people waiting for aid. They're not doing any of these things. None of the war crimes they're being accused of are true. Donald Trump came in front of the podium, in front of the media yesterday, while in Scotland on a golf trip, and he contradicted Netanyahu completely. He said that there are videos and pictures of people in Palestine and Gaza being shot waiting for aid, unarmed civilians, women and children, that there are women and children who are starving to death, and that Israel is intentionally starving these people to death to try and end the war sooner. Israel has been extremely corrupted in this war. Ever since the October 7th attacks, Israel has used this as a justification to commit a genocide against Palestine. I am, like I said, not in favor of Hamas. I am not in favor of Israel. The October 7th attacks were disgusting. Even though Israel did know that they were going to happen, and essentially there is overwhelming evidence to show that Netanyahu and Mossad almost allowed it to happen because they knew it was going to happen and did little to nothing to stop it. I still think that the attack was terrible. I still think it was disgusting. There is no way to speak positively about it in any way. It does not give them the justification, 2.5 years later, to still be trying to wipe them off the face of the earth and commit genocide against them. It doesn't give them the right to starve these people to death, innocent women and children. That's not okay. As a Catholic, I find that grotesque, disgusting, and immoral. I find what Israel is doing to be despicable, despisable, deplorable. Every terrible word you could throw out there, I find it to be terrible what Israel is doing. I have a few different videos I want to show with this too. I don't know. I'm just really upset by how Netanyahu and Israel are handling this and the fact that our tax dollars in America are funding this right now. Right now, our American tax dollars, the $3.8 billion a year we send to Israel, are funding this genocide, essentially. And I'm very sad about that. They say that they're not doing, they're not committing war crimes, that they're not doing anything out of the ordinary, but like we said, they're literally starving women and children. They are killing unarmed people waiting for aid. They bombed the only Catholic church in the area. They claimed it was an accident, but we have laser-guided missiles that can put you could put a missile up a camel's ass from thousands of miles away. You're telling me that they missed and they accidentally hit the only Catholic church in all of Palestine? I don't know. I'm not buying it. I don't believe it. I'm going to play this video for you guys real quick. This video is of a Green Beret. This Green Beret he is talking about Israel's crimes that he witnessed.
Aguilar, a Special Forces veteran of the U.S. Army's Green Berets. He's in Washington. I spoke to him from a spot just near the Gaza border.
I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces shooting at the crowds of Palestinians. I witnessed the Israeli Defense Forces firing a a main gun tank round from the Markava tank into a crowd of people, destroying a car.
It's terrible.
Of civilians that were simply driving away from the site. I witnessed artillery rounds landing at the intersection of the Marag corridor and the coastal road. I witnessed mortar rounds being fired at the crowds of people to keep them controlled.
War crimes.
The Marag corridor in the south.
As a professional soldier with a very long career, what was your professional opinion of what was happening?
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur. Inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal. In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and
That's from a Green Beret.
use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contract.
So, this is somebody, his name's Anthony Aguilar. He's a U.S. Green Beret. He was contracted by Israel with the United States government to work with the IDF during this war. And you hear it from his mouth. He's never seen worse atrocities in his life. He is a Green Beret. He is someone who has traveled the world through wars. He has seen atrocities. He has seen terrible, terrible things. He's probably seen his friends pass away, sadly. God rest their souls. And this person still says that the worst atrocities he's seeing are by Israel. The fact that they are shooting unarmed civilians. They are blowing tanks into unarmed civilians. They are mowing them down. They are forcing them to starve. Like, this is not like... That's torture. That's not... If you force someone to starve to death, that's not like a quick, painful death. Even a quick, painful death is not okay to an unarmed civilian, but a slow, painful one, you're going to take a woman and child and you're going to make them fucking starve to death. You're going to make them, over the course of 2 weeks, a week and a half, not eat at all and just die because of that. You sick fucks, you deranged assholes. The Israeli government needs to be held accountable for this. They are committing a genocide, and now because of it, my tax dollars have to go fund more aid in Gaza. I don't want that to fucking happen. I want to save my tax dollars. I'm so pissed that my tax dollars are finding their way to the Middle East every fucking year. Every president. It doesn't matter who it is. Somehow, my tax dollars find their way into the pockets of the people in the Middle East. And this time, it's because Israel wants to steal the aid from Gaza. They want to kill the Palestinians when they go to get the aid. They want to starve these people to death. So now the Americans have to chip in more to give more aid to Gaza, directly to the people of Gaza, not through Israel, but through ourselves, because we can't even fucking trust the people we call our allies. How are they our allies? They are essentially our enemies at this point. They're working against us. They are costing us money. They cost us lives. They bring us into every war. Their leadership is corrupt. Their military is corrupt. Their intel agencies are pedophiles. Everything about Israel right now screams corruption. You have people like fucking Ted Cruz telling me I have to support Israel because the Bible tells me to. Because I'm a Catholic, I have to support the current state of Israel. Let me give you a fucking news flash, Ted Cruz. The current state of Israel is not the state of Israel that they talk about in the Bible. That is a well-documented thing. The media likes to try and twist that, and the ADL and all these Jewish groups twist that so we will support Israel, but we don't need to support Israel. I have no problem supporting Jewish Americans. I have no problem supporting people of almost any religion if they're Americans and they assimilate to American culture. I will not support Israel. I will not support other corrupt countries, but I definitely will not support a genocide when my tax dollars are funding it. That is not okay. Every week I have to go to church and pray for forgiveness because my tax dollars are funding a genocide. My tax dollars right now are funding a woman and child to be starving in another nation. That is not okay. That is not appropriate. That is not leadership. That is not what America stands for. We stand for putting Americans first. Putting Americans first is not giving money to Israel to then commit a genocide. I don't know how that's controversial. I don't know how people have problems against this. And I don't know how Donald Trump comes out and says that, yes, we are realizing that Israel is starving these people. Donald Trump literally admits it to the media after Netanyahu lies, and then Charlie Kirk posts a video like this. Let me find this Charlie Kirk video. It's insane. I don't know if we're going to watch the whole thing. It's like 10 minutes long, but I am going to watch some of it. Where is this? Right here.
Being lied to, and I hate being propagandized. And this weekend, there was an all-out propaganda campaign trying to make it seem as if Israel is intentionally starving the people of Gaza. I hate being lied to, especially.
Yeah, so do I, Charlie. Stop lying.
COVID, they lied to us about the vaccines. They lied to us about open borders. They lied to us on Hunter Biden laptop.
It's not just Democrats. You too. It's Republicans.
Great friend, and thank you so much for defending me the other day, Rabbi Walicki. You're also the YouTube. People can find you on YouTube, Israel 365. Rabbi, let's just go through the facts here, and then let's get into the...
Bringing on a rabbi to back up your point here is very dumb. It does not help optically. Obviously, this guy's biased.
Well, if we're talking about the starvation lie, and thank you, Charlie, thank you for having me on to talk about this. It's so important, because this is really pure propaganda, as you say.
It's not.
So... Since the
there are videos of it.
Since October 7th, the whole issue of the food getting into Gaza and how much food is getting in has been weaponized by Hamas and by the whole pro-Hamas crowd. And what they're doing most recently is claiming that there's a starvation crisis. The quantities of food, I'm not going to get into the weeds of the numbers, but the quantities of food that have been brought into the Gaza Strip since the beginning of the war and month over month is enough to feed the Gaza Strip, according to the World Food Program's numbers for what
that's being reported by Israel, though. That's reported by Israel.
27 months worth
of course they're going to lie, because they're lying right now.
The Gaza Strip. But what's happening is that Hamas is trying to perpetuate this narrative that Gazans are starving because starting about 2 months ago, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is run by Americans, and is in cooperation with the Israelis, has started distributing food, started distributing humanitarian aid directly to the people of Gaza. And why is that important? Because until they started doing that, the only way for Gazans to get food was to get it from Hamas. All of the tons and tons of food.
And when they show up to get this food, you guys kill them.
As humanitarian aid since the beginning of the war until 2 months ago, were brought in by United Nations organizations that were working hand in glove with Hamas. It was going directly to Hamas, and then Hamas would sell it at exorbitant prices to the people, hoard it for themselves,
again, just
take all the fuel,
misreported. Israel was distributing the aid. This is all well documented and reported. They bring on an extremely biased source.
The estimates now.
We're not going to watch the entire thing because, like I said, it's a 12-minute video almost, so that would just be way too long to watch. But you could just see, like, Charlie Kirk, someone who takes funding from Israel, an evangelical Christian, so someone who has direct ties and loyalty to Israel over America in a lot of ways. He is posting a propaganda video himself calling what Donald Trump is saying, someone who he backed Donald Trump up on the fucking Epstein stuff. He's saying Donald Trump is playing 5D chess when it comes to Epstein, but he can't admit Trump's right when he calls out Israel. Are you kidding me? Charlie Kirk, let's put America first. For once in your fucking life, put Israel on the back burner, realize that they are a corrupted nation, that their government sucks, that their military sucks, their intel agencies are pedophiles. Let's put Americans first and realize that we are now having to send more money and more aid to the people in Gaza because Israel is refusing to do what they were supposed to do. And not only are they refusing to do what they were supposed to do, they're going out of their way to kill the people who are trying to get aid. And the people who don't go to get the aid because they don't want to get shot just fucking starve to death. This is a tragedy. This is happening. Anyone who is on the side of Israel right now, you are on the wrong side of this. I don't even care if you're Jewish. You don't need to be on Israel's side in this to see that what they're doing is wrong. And if you are religious by any metric, if you claim to be Jewish, you claim to be religious, believe in God, morals, or anything, you wouldn't think that this is okay. You wouldn't think starving children and women is okay. You wouldn't think what Randy Fine tweets out is okay. Randy Fine, let's talk about that fucking asshole for a second. Randy Fine, he is a congressman from Florida. He tweets out pictures of dead babies and celebrates it. He tweets out that he wants them to starve. APEC just stopped funding him. Do you know how fucking shitty of a person you have to be for APEC to be like, this guy's a little out there for us? This guy is fucking insane. He's tweeting out, like I said, pictures of dead babies and celebrating it. As long as they're Palestinian babies, he's celebrating it. He says, it's one less future rebel. You are a fucking piece of shit. You should burn in hell. You should be removed from your Congress seat. People like you need to be removed from the government, voted out. Honestly, less people like you need to be Americans because you don't assimilate to American culture. American culture is not wishing for babies to be dead or women to be raped or that any of them to be starved. American culture is wanting peace around the world, not wanting death. It is a Christian society generally. It's not saying everyone has to be Christian, but the morals are Christian. That's what this country was founded on. Anyone who doesn't believe me, read our founding documents. God, our creator, is mentioned multiple times for a reason, because we do have a creator, we do have a God, we do have morals for a reason. But for some reason, people don't want to follow them. People want to commit genocides. People want to pretend like the genocides aren't real because of their donors. Charlie Kirk, it is very sad what you are doing. You are losing a lot of support in Turning Point USA because of this. A lot of Turning Point USA followers are now like Groypers, basically. They are aligning with Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens. They are aligning with other movements that are more far to the right than Charlie Kirk, more far to the right than Donald Trump, because they realize that we are conservatives. We are the true conservatives. Republicans aren't conservatives. Republicans have lost their way. Republicans are neocons. Republicans support Israel too much. They support too much foreign aid. They support immigration, legal and illegal. They don't support illegal, but they support legal, definitely. We're conservatives. We don't support that. We support conserving America. We support American nationalism. We support what this country was actually supposed to be. It's very sad. It is extremely sad. I said a couple minutes ago, and then I went into a long tangent, that I was going to talk about the Vegas shooter, why I thought that was a conspiracy. I'll briefly talk about that for a second because I brought that up. There are multiple videos. Dan Bilzerian even has one on his phone that he's shown publicly that show that there are, they said the shooter was on a certain floor, but the videos show they're on a different floor. They said there was one shooter, but then there's, shots being fired from different areas within Vegas. There's someone dead on Las Vegas Boulevard. There's people dead at the concert. There's people dead a half mile down the road. There's all these different discrepancies. The same person who covered up the Hawaii fires was the same police chief who covered this up, was buried. They said it was one person who, bag by bag, carried up 400 pounds worth of armor and weapons up to this hotel room and was able to commit this atrocity. This was and shortly after is when we got like bans in bump stocks and bans in certain things regarding firearms. This is a false flag is what it was. It was a attempt by the government to put more regulations on guns, and to do that, they had to open fire on hundreds of Americans, injuring and shooting over 50. It was one of the most tragic mass shootings in American history, and it was government planned, government orchestrated, or intel orchestrated. But the overwhelming evidence shows that there is very little room to debate that, and it's one of the shootings they don't debate. They still talk about Parkland a lot. Because of Alex Jones, they still talk about Sandy Hook in the media. They talk about the Pulse nightclub shooting, but they don't talk about the Vegas shooting ever. And they don't talk about it ever because they don't want you to talk about it. Because it was a conspiracy theory. Because the entire thing was planned and orchestrated to put more restrictions on your guns than mine. And guess what? It worked for them. They were able to ban bump stocks. They were able to put a lot of limitations on certain guns, magazine limits, etc. That shit does not help. It does not make the world safer. It makes it more dangerous, actually. When you limit legal Americans' rights to own firearms, all it will do is limit the ability for them to defend their cities, defend themselves, defend their homes. I want to talk about something still related to Gaza and Palestine while we're on this topic. The UK officially announced that by September at the UN meeting that they will recognize Palestine as a state if there is no ceasefire. This has come after Donald Trump gave a 60-day window for a ceasefire, and Israel seems to be pushing harder than ever. It doesn't seem like a ceasefire is in place. It doesn't seem like it will be in place. It doesn't seem like it will happen at all. It seems like Miriam Adelson gave Donald Trump $100 million so that Israel would be able to bomb Iran with the United States' help, and so that they would be able to annex the entire Gaza Strip so that they can set up Israeli encampments there with no problems, without further problems. It seems very obvious when you look at the lobbying and you look at Donald Trump, his career path over his presidential terms. Donald Trump in his first term, self-funded, would never have done anything like this. Donald Trump in 2020 when he was running couldn't have imagined he would have done anything like this either when he was self-funded. But Donald Trump, when he takes money from lobbyists, obviously changes a lot of his ways. He flipped completely on Epstein. He flipped on the No New Wars. He flipped on sending more money overseas. Donald Trump has changed completely, and every single change you can tie directly to Miriam Adelson, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, or another lobbyist. And the Elon Musk ones generally weren't that bad, but he actually went against that harder than he favored Elon Musk in the end, because Elon Musk called him out for being in the Epstein files. So if there is no ceasefire by September at the UN meeting, the UK will officially recognize Palestine as a state. And that will probably officially declare it as a genocide as well when that happens. I want to play this video for you guys real quick. It's nothing important, but it just makes me laugh every single time I talk about ceasefire.
Ceasefire means that somebody sees a fire. It could be any kind of fire.
This dumb bitch.
Fire or small fire.
And I know that's not nice, but
it just matters that somebody sees a fire. That's why we call it a ceasefire.
yeah, I mean, I know it's not nice to call her a bitch, but I mean, she is just so dumb and painful, and it is like, I don't know, it's like if all the stupidest people in your school mashed into one, and then they became a bartender, and then became a shitty congresswoman. She's just so dumb. She's moronic. She goes against the oligarchs while she takes private jets to fight them. She, pitched the green news scam. She is just delusional, over-emotional. She makes women in politics look actually very bad. She makes them look like they're not decisive. She makes them look like they're over-emotional. She makes them look like they can't contain themselves. And sure, there are men who can't either, but there are a lot less women in politics, and when women do things like that and they are in politics, it's really not a good look. I mean, you look at the women who are there. Nancy Mace is showing pictures of herself naked on the floor and wearing pajamas for a fucking TikTok to congressional votes. And she's on the Republican side. You have AOC doing dumb shit like this. Jasmine Crockett can't even get out a fucking sentence. You have a blue-haired lady. Like, come on. The women in politics right now are fucking awful. They are all delusional. None of them deserve a place there. They make women in politics look awful. They make it seem like you shouldn't have women in politics. And I'm not saying you shouldn't. Women, on average, are smarter than men, even though there are way more male geniuses. There's way more male dumbasses and way more male geniuses, but less in the middle. And then for women, it's way more on average. They're just way smarter. So women are very capable of doing certain things. I think leadership roles definitely differ by gender for sure. There's a lot of differences to that. I've talked about that a lot on this show in the past. But yeah, I mean, I think we need less people like AOC, less people like Elizabeth Warren. She had that whole like, hey honey, can I get you a beer staged video? Like, what the fuck was that? What was that? I don't know. These people all suck. AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Jasmine Crockett, Nancy Mace, also a joke. They're all just clowns. They all make women in politics look awful. I do want to go on to some of our other topics. We've been talking about these ones for a while. We're already deep into the show. It's going to be a long show today. Like I said, 100th episode spectacular. Smash the follow button. Leave a comment. But I want to show another video to you guys. This video is of an EasyJet plane. A man is screaming, "Death to America, death to Trump." He is a 41-year-old. I'm going to play this video for you guys. Luckily, there were some passengers on the plane who stepped up and stopped him. He says he has a bomb. He says Allahu Akbar. Why is the fat as fuck the one? props to that guy because he's the one who, like, brought him down. But why is the biggest, fattest fuck on the plane the one to try and bring him down? You're telling me there's not, like, any physically fit males who could just one-punch that guy in the throat? That guy's not even holding a gun. I don't see a bomb in his hands. There's a literal male behind him who looks to be above the height of 5'6" sitting next to that Asian lady. You're telling me you can't just real quick, just quick choke from behind? This is why more people need to train MMA. More people need to train martial arts. More people need to have a base level of fighting skills. If your dad didn't teach you how to fight when you were young, go spend $100, $150 a month at your local boxing gym and go fucking learn. Because, again, you never know when you're just going to need a one punch. I carry when I go into a store because I want to defend myself. I don't want to have to rely on having to beat the shit out of someone to save my life if I need to. But on a plane where you don't have a knife, you don't have a gun, you really don't have a way to defend yourself outside of, A and B here, you want those to work. You want all reliable to work. You want to be able to decimate someone and crush them with 1 to 2 punches, maybe a choke, maybe be able to just restrain them as a whole. I encourage more young men to go out there, be stoic. I know it's not fun. I do it. I don't even love it, but I do it because it's good for you. It's healthy. It makes you feel better. You get stronger. You get healthier. You get better stamina. You feel more confident as well. Walking around knowing that people can't just beat the shit out of you, even if people don't beat the shit out of you on the regular, just walking around knowing that it's not a possibility is a comforting feeling. It's a similar feeling to carrying. Knowing that you have a way to protect yourself is a lot more comforting than walking in bad areas when you don't have a way to protect yourself. So yes, I urge everyone, please, train MMA, train boxing, kickboxing. It's very easy. You could learn on YouTube even, but just go spend $150 a month if you're a young man. Go learn how to do it. It will be a great life skill, and women will love you for it. I mean, they're not going to hate you because you're a little physically stronger and because you know how to fight. Women aren't going to hate you. They're going to be attracted to that, honestly. So please, every guy out there, go get that membership today. I want to talk about our other topics we have today. We're getting to the back end of the show today. This one is a fucking ridiculous topic. We're going to watch a few different little, very short, 5 to 10 second clips about this topic. And I'm going to talk about it a lot. But Sydney Sweeney, we all know who she is. She is an actress. She is a model. She is being blown up by the media right now. The media right now is reporting that Sydney Sweeney did an American Eagle commercial that is Nazi propaganda. Every time they use the word Nazi, they water it down a little more and it means a little less. Nazi at a point in time meant something. It meant a very terrible person who was committing atrocious acts for no other reason than someone's religion. But now it just means anyone who's conservative, anyone who's proud to be white, anyone who's proud to be Christian is a Nazi, according to the liberal media. She put out an ad that basically talked about it was a double entendre of, it was a jeans ad. It's an American Eagle ad, so about jeans that you would wear, and she talks about her genes. She inherited and was given very good genes genetically, which is why she is attractive. They made a little joke about this in the ad, but the media took this. The feminists who ruined the world said that this is Nazi propaganda. We're going to watch some liberals melt down over this really quick, okay? Actually, yeah, let's start with this video, and then I'll show you guys. I was going to show you the ad first, but I'll show you right after.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes.
What's wrong with that?
That is Nazi propaganda.
Really? I missed the part where she said she wants to fucking kill all the Jews.
American Eagle is making fascist propaganda like this.
Oh, I forgot the part where she burned books and decided to kill all the Jews.
Like, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes.
That's just, again, I somehow I missed the part in the ad where she burns all the Jews and, she becomes a Nazi. Let's play the ad.
Personality.
Wait.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has her genes.
What the fuck is it like? What's wrong with that ad? What's wrong with it? What is wrong with it? Again, like, if anything, it's anti-woke. It goes against, like, I don't think we should over-sexualize women. I don't think we should over-sexualize people. But I would rather brands go in the direction of getting away from the woke bullshit and get back in the direction of, like, I don't know, beer commercials were hot chicks. They were not... I don't know. It was not woke bullshit all the time. It does not need to be woke bullshit. People don't respond to that. People don't want to buy woke. People want to see that. They want to see Sydney Sweeney zipping up her jeans and talking about her good genes as a joke. I don't know how that's Nazi propaganda, but we're going to go to some... Like, look at this tweet. I accidentally clicked on their profile. I'm sure they're just a loser. That Sydney Sweeney ad is straight Aryan race eugenics. Like, shut the fuck up.
Which ties back to the overturning of Roe versus Wade and the continued marketing of underage women, which ties...
The overturning of Roe versus Wade, first of all, they gave it back to the states. That's a good thing. They should just ban abortion as a whole. I've talked about that before. I'll talk about that later, too, but... What? You should murder your kids? And you're a black woman. You should be speaking out against this more than anyone. The number one recipient of abortions is black children by black women. They talk about how abortion lowers crime, but the only way it lowers crime is because it eliminates black lives, which in theory lowers crime because most of the crime in the United States is by black individuals, which liberals hate to acknowledge that because they don't want to acknowledge statistics. They do not want to acknowledge that the reason they can make the argument that abortion lowers crime is because more black people are aborted by a long shot. But we're going to get back into this lady's dumbass complaint.
Back to the ad that Brooke Shields did when she was 14 years old and far too young to do an ad that was clearly marketed towards men. And the timing of this ad's release is not lost on me, considering all of the conversation about releasing the files. And when you understand the politics of image making, you will start to see the narrative they push through media is never the true message, and the true message is always hiding in plain sight. The narrative that was pushed about the overturning of Roe versus Wade was about controlling women's bodies, when in fact, the true reason was for population control and the fact that the white race was on track to become the minority race, which means they needed more white babies to be born. And whenever I would tell people this was the real reason,
we do need more white babies to be born. We are becoming the minority race because we are not birthing enough people. But that's not that, like, we don't want you to murder your kids either. I just said that. I don't want black people to murder their kids either, and they're the ones doing it the most.
For the overturning of Roe versus Wade, everyone told me I was reaching. And now we have American Eagle using fashion as a way to influence young, middle American women, ages 15 to 25, because that's their demographic. And their prime reproductive years to focus on purity and passing down the correct genes. And they thought it was a cute double entendre, but it wasn't.
It was.
I don't think this was an accident. This was very intentional, and it would not have mattered one bit if a person of color was in the room, because this message was not intended for us. Oh, and it landed for its intended market. Fashion companies use ads to send out very alarming messages.
Like, see, this is just the liberal woke trash we're tired of. This whole ad with Sydney Sweeney is such right-wing propaganda, especially in this political climate we're in right now. Shut the fuck up. See, this is why people get so fucking mad at liberals, because they just do dumb shit like this. Like, Sydney Sweeney does a fucking jeans ad, now she's a Nazi. Now she wants to go out and kill all the Jews because she did an American Eagle ad. Do you see why we struggle to relate to you? I struggle to relate to Republicans as well, but do you see why the majority of the world struggles to relate to leftists and Democrats? Do you see how fucking stupid they can be sometimes? And it's not all of them. They're not all stupid. Their logic might be, but that doesn't mean they're all stupid. But a lot of them seem to be. A lot of them are posting dumb shit saying that Sydney Sweeney is now a Nazi, that Sydney Sweeney supports eugenics, even though liberals are the ones who support eugenics, even though liberals are the ones who support selective breeding. You could go down the streets of LA and ask people, do you think you should be able to abort a baby because it has Down syndrome? And 7 out of 10 will say yes. That's eugenics. That's fucked up. I just do not understand the liberal argument that this is Nazi propaganda. I'm not going to keep talking about this because this is fucking stupid. It's not a great topic, but it's just, like, I can't not talk about it. They're literally trying to make her into a Nazi. They're trying to turn her into a Nazi over nothing. I want to get into some of our other topics we do have for today. This one is something by Charlie Kirk. He posted, and Wokeness posted as well on social media. I'm going to show you guys the quick clip of it right here. A sex offender. And if you read, the primary offense was sexual abuse of a child. So, sexual abuse of a child. You would think that would bar this person from being able to be around kids. You know, they're probably on a list. They can't go within 500 feet of a school. They probably can't be in certain places. But no, they are allowed to adopt a little baby boy. This fucking rapist, this sex offender, this monster is allowed to take a boy into his home? No, we need to send SEAL Team 6 in to rescue this child. We need to rescue this child immediately. It's not even about the fact that it's the gay couple. It's about the fact that it's a fucking sex offender holding a baby boy. What the? He's kissing him on the fucking cheek. He's probably fucking hard. That's disgusting. It's immoral. I freak out when I see shit like this because how the fuck are we here in America? How are we at a point where we gotten so woke and so delusional that we're now allowing sex offenders, a guy who raped a little boy, to adopt a little fucking boy for him to just rape? What are we doing? Are we trying to fund the next Jeffrey Epstein? Are we trying to create the new Epstein? Are we just going to funnel fucking kids to these pedophiles now? Are we just going to start new adoption agencies for pedophiles to adopt kids they want to have sex with? Because that's what this fucking is. This guy handpicked a child he wanted to have sex with and adopted it. This couple did that. I am so fucking disgusted by this. I am so outraged by this. This is where I agree with Charlie Kirk, where he says this should be illegal and the kid should be rescued immediately. Send in SEAL Team 6. Send in anybody. Send in hell. This person deserves to be in hell. This baby needs to be rescued, needs a mother and a father to love them, needs a supporting set of parents to love them and not rape them. This man is going to rape this baby because this man has raped a child before. He has been arrested for it before. The pedophilic mind is a sick one, and it is one that cannot be cured. That's why they chemically castrate these individuals. They generally let them get killed off in prison. If we're allowed to do so, we need to just kill them ourselves. This person being allowed to adopt a baby boy is an abomination and an embarrassment to America. It is everything I talk against. It is everything America stands against, and it is disgusting. It is pedophilic. It is woke gone to an extreme, fucked up, messed up level that I will never accept. I'm very sad by this. I'm going to go on to our next topic. I want to talk, this one's a smaller one, completely different from that one, but Senator Hawley right now is talking about sending a $600 check to all Americans for the tariffs that the United States is receiving. Over $100 billion alone through imports has been taken just through citizens. This isn't even like through businesses and stuff. So there is a massive revenue of tariffs, or a massive source of revenue with tariffs coming into the country right now. We do have a lot of dollars coming in, but we are spending dollars just as fast. We raised our debt ceiling. They're talking about a $600 check to Americans. I'd rather use money to pay down our debt. But what happened to the $5,000 Doge checks? We talked about it the other day. It most likely won't happen. I said the other day, even before they announced this, that there would more likely be a tariff check than a Doge check. Seems like I'm correct there, but to go from $5,000 to $600 is crazy. It is an astronomically lower number. It is upsetting to a lot of Americans who were hoping that they were going to get more money than that. I don't even think we're going to get the $600 checks, but people are freaking out on social media about it, as they should be, because the government says one thing, then says another, and like, stop over-promising and under-delivering. Just, you didn't have to promise the $5,000 checks in the first place. Why'd you do it? Because now you're saying 600, people are pissed off, and if they don't get 600 now, they're going to be even more mad. Not that they should. No one should be getting handouts. I don't think they should even be sending these out in general. I think we should use it to pay off our debt. But if we're not using it to pay off our debt, we might as well, give Americans some money back for all the ways our government has robbed us. I do want to go on to our last few topics of the day today. Our last few topics are, let's see. I realized I had some, we're going back a little bit, but I realized I had some Sydney Sweeney things I forgot to pull up and show you guys. I want to actually show you quick 3 more things. So here's the first one. Sydney Sweeney ad shows an unbridled cultural shift toward whiteness. Like, shut the fuck up, MSNBC Rachel Maddow. This one is on ABC Live this morning on The Pulse. We're going to watch this video.
Time to check the pulse. We begin with the backlash over a new ad campaign featuring actress Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, the ads are for American Eagle, and the tagline is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Now, in one ad, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress talks about genes as in DNA being passed down from her parents.
The play on words is being compared to Nazi propaganda with racial undertones.
The pun, good genes, activates troubling historical associations for this country. The American eugenics movement in its prime between 1900 and 1940 weaponized the idea of good genes just to justify white supremacism.
Despite that backlash, American Eagle stock has been soaring.
It's up 20%, actually. American Eagle stock is soaring right now. And then we're going to watch this.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Yeah, that was the last one we have for videos for the Sydney Sweeney stuff. I just forgot I had those queued up and forgot to show you guys them. But that was Doja Cat being a dumbass, being a jealous bitch. Jealous bitch, dumbass. She is just a jealous woman. Jealous that Sydney Sweeney's better looking, more successful, better by almost every metric. Not a trashy individual. Doja Cat is disgusting, trashy. She makes women look bad. And I'm not saying that Sydney Sweeney makes women look great. She constantly is naked on TV. I find that immoral and disgusting. I think porn should be made illegal. I talk about that constantly. I do not think porn should be protected by the First Amendment, even though it is. I'm not saying Sydney Sweeney makes women look better, but Sydney Sweeney's not targeting other women. Women love to go after other women when they feel threatened, women who are more successful than them. And that's what Doja Cat's doing here. It's the same as when WNBA players target Caitlin Clark. They want to go at the woman who is way more successful than them. And it's just, that's how not all women, but a lot of women operate socially. We're going to go into those last few topics, though, today. I'm going to talk about the Epstein stuff a little bit. We're just going to go over what we know about Epstein, just because the media seems to stop, they've stopped talking about it, they've forgotten about it, and I'm sure that they'll bring it up again. They just don't want to talk about it every day. And I don't want to talk about it necessarily every day either, but it is important that we hold pedophiles accountable. So I'm going to go over what we know and what the media is forgetting to say about Epstein, his connections to Mossad, his connections to Israel, his connections to elites, his connections to presidents, his connections to academia. But he lived with Ehud Barak, who is the chief of Mossad and the prime minister of Israel. He was best friends with Les Wexner and power of attorney for Les Wexner. Les Wexner funneled real estate to Jeffrey Epstein, gave him the $50 million mansion in New York. He funneled girls from Victoria's Secret. Jeffrey Epstein was known to recruit little girls from Victoria's Secret, and he gave money to Jeffrey Epstein. Howard Lutnick lived next to Jeffrey Epstein. He was also connected to Larry Silverstein. They both profited heavily off the 9/11 crash. The reason I talk about the 9/11 crash is because Mossad and Israel had prior knowledge of the 9/11 attack. I don't think it was necessarily Israel who did it, but they knew it was going to happen. The dancing Israelis are a big proof of this. There were 5 Israelis in New Jersey who were arrested right after the 9/11 attacks. They were filming the buildings fallen. They were laughing as they were filming it. When they were arrested and apprehended, they were then deported back to Israel. It was found that 2 of them were Mossad agents, and they directly said, and I quote, "We weren't here and a part of it. We were here to film it and report on it." So they knew it was going to happen. We also, besides that, more proof why I bring up the 9/11 thing is Jeffrey Epstein had a painting done. He had multiple blackmail paintings done, but one of the blackmail paintings was of George W. Bush, and it was George W. Bush sitting like a child. Let me actually pull this picture up. This was the painting. No, that's a bad picture. This was the painting right here. So that is, I mean, that's blackmail. He obviously is saying, I know you knew something about it. I know you were a part of it. You know, people got paid heavily through insurance. There was even a guy, Larry Silverstein, who bought terrorist insurance just months before. There's still no explanation for the Pentagon or Tower 7 or any of these things. So that's the reason I bring up the 9/11 part of it and Lutnick, even though Lutnick also did live next to Epstein. But Robert Maxwell as well was Ghislaine's father. Robert Maxwell was Mossad, obviously Ghislaine being Mossad as well. Jeffrey Epstein bought an office at Harvard for $30 million. It gave him access to people like Bill Gates, other people high up in academia. He also had the blackmail on Clinton as well. He had the picture of Bill Clinton in Monica Lewinsky's cum dress. This was obviously blackmail over the alleged affair, or not alleged, we knew it happened. There's Exhibit 52, which is Ghislaine's black book, which they redacted all that. We had 3 minutes deleted with the Adobe Premiere edited jail footage. We have the Trump Wall Street Journal letter. There are overwhelming connections to show that Epstein was connected to Mossad. Epstein and other high-profile individuals were raping these young girls on this island, and that the government did nothing about it, and that the government protected them for it. This is corruption. We need to still talk about it, even if we just talk about it for a few minutes like we are right now, just so the people know that we are still standing up against the government, that we are not going to allow a corrupt government to do this. I mean, they literally in 2007 let him walk for raping over 37 people, 37 little girls, and doing it with high-profile elites, and he got off because he was an intel agent. That was reported by Alex Acosta. I am going to go on to some of our next topics. Like I said, I just wanted to briefly touch on the Epstein stuff. I think it's important we keep talking about it, that we keep it in the news, and we keep telling the president and telling the White House and all of corrupt DC that we're not going to stand for it. I want to end the show in a different way than usual. We're still actually going to end the show in the same way, where I check if there's any headlines that have popped up. But for our last segment on the show, our last topic, I'm just going to talk about my political policies and why I believe them. I've done this in previous episodes before, but I think it's really important that I continuously lay out my policies for the people. They do slightly evolve over time with new information. I have gotten extremely educated on politics over the last 7 months. I feel like about 3 to 4 months into my show is when I really hit an inflection point on being educated on this stuff. I got red-pilled on a lot of different things as well that were happening, and I realized I was shilling for certain people that I probably shouldn't have been for. But I'm going to get into my policies, what I believe. I want to start with my domestic economics. I'm not going to go too far into each thing because, like I said, we're going to talk about economics, healthcare, immigration, crime, foreign policy, civil rights, education, religion, elections. We'll talk about all that, so I'm not going to talk about each of them for a while. I'm just going to briefly go over each one because, this could go for 20 hours if I did it like that. But for domestic economics, I want to focus on American manufacturing. I want to reject globalism as a whole. I want to support American manufacturing. I want to support American wages, American laborers. I want to support paying down our debt. I think we need to do what we can to straighten out our books. We do not have a DOD who can pass an audit. We rarely have a government agency as a whole who can pass an audit. We have corrupt politicians through lobbying. I want to end lobbying. I want to essentially focus all our economics within our government on the American people. Stop sending money foreign aid. And I guess this gets into foreign policy a little bit too. But the money we create domestically, the jobs we create domestically, I want them to stay domestic. I do not want us to offshore our jobs. It should be, honestly, illegal to offshore our jobs. We should not be allowing slave labor to be utilized by big corporations so they could have bigger profit margins. For healthcare, I want to defend life from birth to death, essentially. My only exception is death penalties for murderers and for rapists, and specifically child rapists. But I want to stop all abortion. I think abortion is murder. I don't think it's necessarily, except for in like 0.00001% of cases where it does save the life of the mother, things like that. And you can make the argument for rape and incest because generally my position is you should take responsibility for your actions, which would be take responsibility if you choose to have sex. There is a consequence of that. You could get pregnant. But if you're raped, you didn't necessarily make that decision yourself. So I do understand the argument there. And, I'm willing to listen to that side of the argument and possibly budge on that side of the argument. But generally, I'm a no abortions person. I think abortion is murder. And one of my main arguments is no one who's ever been aborted has ever been able to make the argument that abortion is wrong. They're all dead. It's very sad. And it's loss of life. And a lot of it is loss of black life in America. Blacks are, committing the most abortions. They say that it lowers crime rate abortion, but that's because it lowers the amount of black lives in this country. We don't need to focus on limiting crime through abortion. We need to focus on limiting crime through actually bringing parents back in the household and having strong nuclear families, not killing the nuclear families. I'm going to go on to immigration. I obviously have a net zero illegal immigration policy. I also have a net zero immigration policy for legal immigration too. I want to build a wall in this country, and I want everyone who comes to America and has came to America to learn English. I want people to realize what true Native Americans are as well. I'm a Native American. Everyone in my family is a Native American. I was born in America. I'm not native to anywhere else. I'm native to the land of America. And guess what? They want to call the Native American Indians Native Americans. They are not. That wasn't America. We built America. So I am Native American. My ancestors are the true Native Americans, the ones who built this land. But yes, we need to build a wall. People who come here need to learn English. No illegal immigrants and no legal immigrants, because the only people who benefit off legal or illegal immigrants are the corrupt corporations who abuse their slave labor and the politicians who use them as pawns. That's the only people who benefit. You don't benefit. I don't benefit. Our neighbors don't benefit. Our societies don't benefit. Corrupt corporations and corrupt politicians are the only people benefiting off legal or illegal immigration. The only argument you can make for pro-legal immigration that would work for America right now is the gold card, which someone invests over $5 million in the United States and they promise to create over 10 jobs. That maybe you can make the argument for, but in general, just firing American workers to replace them with H-1B visas who are going to take lower wages doing the same job, that's disgusting. That's getting rid of American laborers in favor of foreign laborers, and that's not America first in any way. I do want to go on to crime. I want to empower more cops and law enforcement, higher funding for law enforcement. I want to tackle black crime statistics as well. Start at the root figure out what the root cause of it. Is it, bad family dynamics? Is it social? Is it economic? Like, what is it that's causing it? I think we do know, like I've talked about, I think it comes down to the family dynamics. I think it comes down to having two parents in the home is a big factor that contributes to whether a person will or won't commit crime. Having having strong consequences as a child for your actions when you do step out of line. Fearing your parents like you fear God. Restoring that in the black household will restore crime statistics to where they were pre-civil rights. We need to give death penalty to pedophiles, death penalty to certain murderers. We need to stop this wishy-washy softball crime bullshit. If someone commits a crime, they should not be out that day. If someone commits a crime, they shouldn't be out that week. We need to hold people accountable for their actions. This no cash bail system, all this bullshit you're seeing in New York and California where someone is committing a crime, they're out the same day committing another crime. I'm done with that. The California where it's like, people aren't stealing because they're criminals. They're stealing because they need bread. And then you have fucking CVS and Walgreens locking up every single item, like a Twinkie and a shampoo bottle in their store. Like, come on. It's just unnecessary. It's so annoying. We need to just stop crime. Why are you allowing criminals to run rampant in your states and in your cities and acting like it's okay? It's not okay. For foreign policy, I am against all needless wars. I'm against sending dollars to countries, especially countries who undermine us, specifically like Israel, Canada, Mexico, places in Africa. I'm against sending money to almost any of these places. I want America over everyone. Our government has a duty and a role to put American citizens over other countries' citizens, and our country stopped doing that. And that is what we employ them to do. They work for us. We don't work for them. Our government's job is to take care of us. So when they are taking care of Israel, when we're passing 22 pro-Israel amendments in the last few years, but 0 pro-America amendments in the House, that's a problem. When we are not supporting Americans, when our government is sending $300 billion to Ukraine instead of paying down our debt, when our government is fucking Americans over just because they want to, that's when you know it's a problem, when our government is not putting America over everyone else. We need to have limited allies. Our founders talked about this. We should not have lifelong allies. We should have very little allies. We should not be policing every war around the entire world. We need to focus on having a strong military domestically, defending our homeland against the invasion that we're currently facing right now. But yeah, I'm against the wars that are happening around the world. I'm against the United States' involvement in all of them. I'm against the funding from the United States in all of them. I am against our government's involvement in them. To get into civil rights and things like that, I'm against identity politics, the woke identity politics bullshit. Very against it. We need to just get back to a common sense America where you're you, I'm me. If you're over the age of 18, I don't give a shit what you do or who you are. Just stay the fuck away from kids if you're going to do weird shit. Stay the fuck away from kids if you're going to do shit that we don't want around our kids. You are not in charge of our kids. Our kids are not the government's kids. They're not your kids. They're not the city's kids. They're the parents' kids. The parents have the right to instill any values they want in their children. That is their right. They created these children from their sperm and eggs. So they could do whatever the fuck they want when it comes to teaching them things. The people, the teachers, the corrupt politicians, the tenured professors who don't want to leave, the people who are obsessed with woke identity politics, you have no right to be near children or to push that shit on children. Just keep it away from them. Keep it out of sports. Keep it out of, schools. It's just not that much to ask. I want to take away bad parts of the civil rights movement as well to get into other parts of civil rights. The civil rights movement in 1965 was great because of the desegregation and equality. That's all great, but what's not great is giving black Americans a reason to divorce their husbands and marry the government, creating too many babies without marrying anybody, passing along diseases because of non-monogamous relationships, and failing to make Black America better. Black America has gotten worse over the last 60 years, and it is because of the failures of the Democratic Party. It is because you incentivize them to stay where they are. You give them free Section 8 housing with no reason to leave. You give them free food stamps. You give them more and more money for every kid they have that they don't, that they're not married to the father. This is disgusting. It's incentivizing poor practices. It's incentivizing bad behavior. And it is leading to the decline in black society. And it's a reason that you have this rise in racism, because people are speaking out against it. People are speaking out against the fact that our tax dollars for decades now have been funding Black America for them to not only not get better, but to get worse. We have been spending our tax dollars on billions and billions of dollars a year on black programs around America for the black murder rate, black suicide rate, black theft rate, black arrest rate, black drug use rate, black death rate, everything to be worse off. And I was going to say everything to be greater, but the only thing in there that wouldn't have made sense if I said greater is the age. The death rate, they're dying younger. Black people are dying at younger ages now because they're getting into gang-affiliated activities at younger ages. Because black Americans aren't walking around the suburbs just shooting white people. We've talked about that. They're walking around the hood shooting other black people. People who aren't involved in gangs are still getting shot in gang violence. Black people who live in black neighborhoods are in fear for their lives because of the crime in their neighborhoods. And we need to stop this. We need to stop the incentives that let Black America divorce their husbands, marry the government, and marry crime, because it has led to the fall of America and the fall of black society in a lot of ways. I want to talk about education control. I want to put education in the hands of the parents. This is important. Parents need to be able to communicate with the schools, with the educators themselves, with the superintendents, the principals, vice principals, the school board, everything in between. They need to know what their kids are learning. They need to approve of what their kids are learning generally. They don't need to be teaching these kids extra bullshit or woke indoctrination bullshit. They need to be teaching these kids an American education, or generally a Christian American education. It doesn't need to push Christianity to the kids, but Christian morals onto these kids, because Christian morals are American morals. And it's not saying that America is all Christian, but We were founded as a Christian nation that had Christian morals. We believe we had a creator and we had a God, and our laws were created to please that God. So we need to keep it that way to keep the morals of America, to keep American culture, this assimilated American culture we're trying to build. We'll talk about trade, although we already kind of talked about this, but end all unfair trade practices and move all manufacturing back to the United States. It's extremely important to move manufacturing back to the United States and not support slave labor. I already talked about that, so I'm going to go on to the next one. But for religion and morality, I think we need to derive our morals from God, from religion, from Christianity. I think it's what our founders did. It's very important. Because if you create your own morals in your mind, it is a slippery slope to, mass genocides. If you create your own morals in your mind, you're no better than what Israel's doing right now. Israel and Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk, people like that are justifying what's happening because they created their own morals in their mind. They're saying to themselves that, oh, this person did this, so it's completely okay for me to do this. Do you think that God or Jesus or the Bible would find it okay to starve unarmed women and children who have nothing to do with the people who, committed the October 7th attacks? I don't think they would. I generally think they would really frown upon it and they would want those people to go to hell. I don't think that they would support that at all. If you create your own morality, you could say like, oh, I could throw a rock at this guy's head because he called me stupid. No, that's not okay. That is an overreaction. But if you derive your own morality, there's nothing stopping you from creating that conclusion. But if you have your morality derived from somewhere else, created for you, and it cannot be changed, like the Bible or the Catholic Church or the Christian Church for that matter, it creates a lot better framework. It creates a lot safer society where it's like, I know why I shouldn't murder. I know why I shouldn't steal. I know why I shouldn't cheat. I know why I shouldn't do these things. It's because it is a sin. It is because I will go to hell. It is because Jesus will look poorly on it. This is how people need to look at things. And whether you accept Christ or not, or whether you accept religion or not into your heart, if you're not deriving your morals from a religious framework, specifically a Christian framework, you're not assimilating to American values and American culture, because that's what America is. That's what America has always been. That's what it was founded on, and that's what it will continue to be. The next generation is way more far right than anyone realizes. I talked about this poll before, and I'm going to talk about it again briefly, but Donald Trump's approval rating for people under the age of 30 went from 56 to 26 following the Epstein mishap. They're saying that people are going to the Democratic Party, but that's not true. What people are realizing is that Donald Trump is not a true conservative. He is more like a Republican or a Democrat. He is not an American nationalist. He is going against everything that, as you would call, far right wants. And I wouldn't even say we're far right. We're just true conservatives. We want the Constitution to be upheld. We want America to be upheld. We want a true assimilation of cultures within our society. We don't want this massive mix of cultures that do not assimilate with each other. We don't need to just bring in everyone from the third world to be nice. There's no reason to bring Somalians into the United States right now. There's no reason to bring people from different countries into the United States right now. It doesn't benefit anyone but the corrupt politicians or the corrupt businesses who are abusing their labor. It's not okay, and it's not helping us. We need to derive our values from a religious moral framework that works for the country, the one that was laid out for us by our founders, which is the Christian moral framework. I want to get into our last few topics, and I actually do have another video I'm going to play when I talk about this one, right? Or we'll do that one last because I'll play the video last. Let's talk about the deep state. I want to get rid of the deep state as well. Fuck Palantir. I want to have the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, everyone involved in the government needs to be able to pass an audit. I'm tired of all our money being stolen and laundered and hidden. BlackRock, APEC, Palantir. This is all the deep state. The intel agencies, our ties to Mossad. I want to get rid of all this. I want transparency to the American people. I don't want Palantir spying on us. I don't want BlackRock buying our homes. I don't want our agencies stealing our money. I don't want foreign nations stealing our money. I don't want NGOs and bureaucrats, super PACs all funneling money to politicians to push their agenda through. I don't want Miriam Adelson paying Trump $100 million to annex Gaza and bomb Iran. I do not want any of this, but this is what's happening because we do have a deep state and we need to eliminate it. To get into my last position, which would be on elections, and I'm going to show a video after I talk about this, but I want the strictest voter ID laws. I want voter ID laws that are insanely strict. I want people to have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they are who they are when they go and vote, because we know elections have been stolen. We know elections have been rigged. Not even just 2020. The election with JFK, there was fraudulent numbers. Every election there has been fraudulent numbers. There have been people who pumped up votes from dead people. There have been people who miscounted votes. There have been people who overcounted votes. There are people who sent in extra mail-in ballots. And when we had the mail-in ballot fiasco, it led to huge problems in our society. So I think strict voter ID is necessary. Liberals will tell you that voter ID laws are racist. They'll tell you that black people are not able to get IDs and that it's racist and that it disenfranchises black people from being able to vote and that it is against America to have voter ID laws. So let's see if I could find this video real quick. I had it earlier. I don't know where I saved it to. Yeah, right here. We're gonna watch it. It's about a 4-minute video, but it's a good one. Maybe we won't watch the whole thing if it gets really repetitive, but we'll see.
Voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as saying that those laws are racist?
For sure.
For sure.
Definitely. Because they're less likely to have state IDs. Minority voters.
Yeah, I forgot. Black people, they're just so fucking dumb they can't get state IDs. That's the Liberal Party. Black people, you should love them, right? They love you. They think you're so fucking dumb you can't get IDs. Come to the conservative side. We don't think you're that dumb. We know you can get IDs. We know you can vote. We just want you to commit less crimes. And it's not all of you. It's just a certain percentage of your demographic that commits the majority of crimes in our nation.
Less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been
what, a driver's license? A passport?
People don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they get identification.
They don't have access to the internet or a DMV?
Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to...
Oh, wow.
Service
I'm going to play a video after this. Let me write this down so I don't forget, because I'll forget. But there is a funny video where this woman in Congress is saying that like black people in inner cities don't even like know what computers or the internet are, and this was like 2 years ago, like during COVID, and it's just, I don't know, it's like, do they think black people are fucking retarded? Because they're not. They might commit too many crimes. Their youth might steal a little much, and we're working on those issues. But to say that they don't even know what the internet is or a computer, or that they might not have access to the internet, like, do you think these people live in fucking straw huts still? Like, are you delusional liberals? These are all liberals in this video.
For certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works. A lot of people have smartphones, they might not have data. For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or like they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of like black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, like you're not allowed to vote and everything. And
that applies to white people too. It's not just black people. It's just black people are convicted felons a lot more often. You know, what you're saying is black people should commit less crimes, but you're framing it in a way that makes black people the victims, even though they're the ones committing the crimes.
When you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the like African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black
This is my favorite part of the video.
Just heard. Do you have ID, Norley? You carry ID around?
Yes, that's state ID.
Oh, really? Of course.
You carry ID? Yes, I do. Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has ID. Why would they think we don't have ID? That's a lie.
It's because liberals think you're dumb. Liberals think black people are stupid. Liberals are the most racist group there is. People say Republicans are racist because they call out black crime stats. It's not racist to call out statistics. It is racist to assume that black people are too dumb to get IDs to vote and to create laws saying we don't have to show IDs when we vote because it's racist towards black people. That is racism.
Do you have ID?
Yes. Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with.
Oh, really? No shit.
Know any black adult?
I love this.
No, I don't. Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this? Some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right?
They're pulling out their IDs. They're literally like, you don't believe me? Oh, I want one of these liberals to go around and talk to black people about this.
What does that say to you?
I know his dad is on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is right here?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
He knows the fucking street corner it's on off the top of his head. And they're like, they don't have access. They don't have access. Are you fucking kidding me? Does he have access to a local public library with a computer? Does he have access to a phone at all?
You know how to get the DMV? You know where it is?
Yes.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even little kids can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting repetitive at this point. But I wanted to show that video. I do also, let me see if I can find this video real quick. Let's see. Yeah, this is it right here. Kathy Hochul, this dumbass. All right, ready?
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know.
Well, does she think black people fucking walk around on all fours and bark? Is she retarded? Does she not realize that black people are people, that they can understand the word computer? We don't have to sound it out or spell it out for them, that they are humans. They can understand what computers are and the internet is, that they are required to go to school by law. So they use computers in school. They understand the internet because they use it every day, probably for their homework, their schoolwork. This is the left. This is the left who wants to claim that the right is racist, that the right hates black people, hates minorities. But no, we just don't want our jobs to be taken by immigrants. We don't want immigrants to commit crimes. And we don't want black people to commit the majority of crimes, being only 13% of the population. That's the Republican side, or the conservative side, of how we view other races. Other than that, we really don't have any ill will to anyone. Most of us are Christians and Catholics and things like that. So most of us, we see each other as equals. We are all made equal in the eyes of God. That doesn't mean we all end up equal. People end up better than others. Some people are pieces of shit. Some people will murder someone or rape a kid, and some people will invent things, or some people will build families. So there are different levels over time, but in the end, we are all made equal in the eyes of God, and we should be treated that way. We just need to do what we can to make America better for everybody. We need to make America safer for black Americans, for white Americans, for Hispanics, for Asians, for Jewish people, for Christians, and for Muslims even. Even though I disagree with a lot of things in Muslim culture, doesn't mean we should make it less safe for them. We need to make it more safe for anyone who lives in America. That's my take, and beyond all the other stuff, one of the most important things I've said today, and one of the most important topics I've talked about today, and I want people to really think about this and really feel this deep inside. And I want more Americans to start saying this, because there's a rising movement of Americans who do say it, but we are the true Native Americans. If you were born in the United States of America, you are a Native American. You are the true Native Americans. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. We are the true Native Americans. This is our land. We built this land. Our ancestors built this beautiful land, this beautiful country. It is our job to preserve it and to save it. We are watching the fall of it in real time. It is our job to save America. That is what we're here for. That's why we have this show. That's why we have this movement. It's why we subscribe to the America First movement as well. It's extremely important that we do what we can to put America first in every way. We have strong leaders who are willing to do that. We have people who are willing to die behind these causes, who are leading these. The leader of the America First movement is literally willing to die for this cause, and that's why we support it. That's been our show for tonight, folks. It's been our 100th episode spectacular. We've had a great show. Please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment, send a super chat if you have any questions. I'm going to check if any topics or any headlines have popped up while I've been filming the episode. We've been filming for a while, over an hour and a half, it looks like. So there's a chance something has popped up. We'll see right now. Let's refresh Twitter. We already talked about the UK deadline. Let's see if there's, I mean, Epstein's been trending for days. Let's see if there's anything more. Okay, I mean, this is interesting. CNN edited a clip where Donald Trump says that Bill Clinton was on the island 28 times to take that part out. That's nothing new for CNN, though. We're not going to watch it. It's going to be a dumb clip. Let's see what this is. Mayor. Okay, we talked about the violent attacks that happened in Cincinnati. Let's see. We talked about it yesterday. Let's see what the mayor has to say.
But the conversation turns to this one incident, adults fighting at 3 a.m. This is not who we are. But the conversation turns
that
to
was
this one
like,
incident.
I don't know. I wish you would dive in a little more on that. Yeah, okay. I mean, after a NYPD officer was shot yesterday, it's nice to look back at Zoran's old tweets of, no, we do want to defund the police. The people who put their lives on the line to take these shooters out and to risk their lives to possibly never see their families again to go make New York safer. No, we should take money away from them. Go give money to the gays and the trans and give money to all these woke groups and give money to the Muslim groups and to the Palestinian groups and to the Jewish groups and to, like, give money to your free grocery stores. But no, we're going to take money away from the police. It's just, it's gross. It's disgusting. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of other topics. We talked about GPT-5 yesterday. Pakistan's trending. Let's see if anything is there. Yeah, again, this is why I speak out against Muslim culture in the United States. A young girl in Pakistan forced to sign a marriage contract with a 40-year-old man by her own parents. Sharia law makes girls and women property. That is true. They are trying to bring Sharia law. Like, look at this. This girl is literally, like, I don't even want to watch that. That's actually fucking terrible to watch. It's so hard to watch, seeing that girl struggle like that. Sharia law is coming to America in New York City, in Texas. They literally have a whole town in Texas that follows Sharia law. We have the mayor of New York City who is a devout Muslim, and I've spoke out against this. They have a age of consent of 9 within the Muslim cultures. Their god, Muhammad, married a 6-year-old and slept with a 9-year-old. They view women as property. They're allowed to beat as long as they don't kill their wives, and they're allowed to have up to 4 to 5 wives, I think it is. None of these things assimilate with American culture. I'm not okay with these things. I speak out against these things. I'm not saying we should deport all the Muslims here, but we should stop allowing them in. That's what I think would make America better in a lot of ways, and it wouldn't fix it. It wouldn't fix America, but it would be a good start. Let's see if anything else. Ohio is trending. Let's see what that is before. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just talking about the same attacks. Yeah, so that seems to be all our topics we do have for today. It's been a great show, like I said. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about Senator Hawley's $600 checks for tariffs that we might be receiving. We talked about the gay couple, one of them who was a sex offender charged with molesting a boy who was able to then adopt a little boy, and how grotesque and disgusting that is. We talked about the shooting that happened in New York. We talked about why it happened, that it was due to mental illness, not due to gun policies, how more gun laws would have actually made the shooting worse, not better, how banning AR-15s would be a mistake. We talked about Israel starving Palestine, Donald Trump admitting this after Netanyahu denied it. Charlie Kirk still denying it. We talked about and showed a video of a Green Beret talking about his experience working with the IDF and how corrupt they are. The UK saying they will recognize Palestine as a state if there is no ceasefire by September. We talked about the EasyJet flight that was threatened by a passenger who was screaming Allahu Akbar. Sydney Sweeney being called a Nazi because she is just attractive, because she's not fat, and because She doesn't hate herself. She's a Nazi. Feminists are just ruining the world. They're ruining society. New wave and modern wave feminism is killing women. It is absolutely destroying what good women are. We talked about how the media is forgetting about Jeffrey Epstein, but we're not going to let you forget. We still talked about it. I laid down all my political policies, not all of them, but for the most part, the major ones: domestic economics, healthcare, immigration, crime, foreign policy, civil rights, education, religion, elections, and not having a deep state. We showed some funny videos. We showed some liberal hypocrisy. But overall, a great show. Please remember to like, smash the follow button, leave a comment. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 100 of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. I got it one more time. This has been episode 100 of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. I just had to say it again. I am that excited. I love doing this. I kind of hate being in front of a camera, but I'm getting used to it more and more. I'm starting to do gaming streams, which gets me more used to it because I'm comfortable gaming. But I love talking about politics. I love pushing American nationalism. I love calling out liberal and conservative or Republican delusion. I love calling out hypocrisy. I love speaking about these things, holding people accountable, and trying to fix this nation. I'm James Pascalides. This has been America Unfiltered, episode 100. One last time, just had to say it. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I will see you guys tomorrow. And please remember, Ghislaine Maxwell did not and will not kill herself. Thank you.